Optimizations are another way to increase the power of your units, but unlike leveling or upgrading gear, optimizations are only available once the unit has reached UR1, and then again when they've reached MR. And this optimization costs a resource called Optimization Code, which can be farmed 3 times a day from the 3rd Supply Search Dungeon. You may be thinking to yourself, I have plenty of these optimization codes, and at the moment so do I. But when we get to endgame, leveling up 20 or so units, optimizing them all at UR1, and then again at MR, we are going to run out fast. And since you can only run this stage 3 times a day, you'll want to take every chance you can to save up in the early game. Before I go any further, if this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. I'm Shrike. I cover gacha games. The extent to which I cover them will largely depend on whether I think it's worth my time or not. So if you like gacha games, or this game in particular, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Each one of these search dungeons has a gimmick, where it hyper-focuses on one particular type of unit, and this one is no different. It's attackers. So these lovely ladies. Unlike previous searches which allow for less of the chosen unit on early levels, this one seems to require 3 attack proxions right from the start and all the way through to level 30. At the very least it's from stage 11 onwards. I can't check what they were before that. But let's dive in and take a look at the boss we'll be tackling today. Meet Mr. Mindloader. Deals powerful damage to the nearest target and reduces defense of the target. Releases electricity around the farthest target. Each attack continuously strikes random targets, dealing powerful damage. Deals powerful damage to the farthest target continuously for a certain period of time. If the target has fallen, greatly restores the character's HP. When its HP drops to 30% or lower, transforms this character, restoring its HP and greatly reducing incoming damage. Also increases attack and the range of basic attacks. Increases block against range attacks and makes this boss immune to CC effects. Increases the boss groggy gauge when the boss takes melee attacks or massive damage. When the gauge is full, the boss enters a groggy state, significantly increasing damage taken. The boss takes an enormous amount of damage upon entering the groggy state for the first time. So right away we see some discrimination. This guy really doesn't like the backline, and he's going to be hammering it with dot attacks while simultaneously reducing the defense of your frontline tank. And to make matters worse, right when you seem to be winning, he'll go Super Saiyan and heal back up. So we're going to want some heal reduction if we can fit it in, some good heals to combat the dots, and attack down debuffs for his second form, and a defense down debuff if we can manage it. Let's get the tank and healer out of the way first. No surprise, Ryo is going to be your best healer here. But the tank may surprise you. There's actually 2 good options, and neither are itis. First one is Melissa, and if you choose her, you're going to want her Blossom active, and to place her in the backline, alone. She will summon a copy of herself at the start of the battle, and this copy will take the targeted shot from the boss. Incidentally, from my testing, it does not seem as though this copy dying triggers the boss's heal effect. The other option is Daria with her plugin, for her passive buffs to damage and damage resistance, not to mention she can implant attack down, which will be helpful when the boss goes nuclear. In my opinion, if you have both at about the same level, Daria is probably the safer option. She provides more to the team, and Melissa is really only there for the copy trick. Now onto the attackers. Right away, we're going to be using Isabella. And not just because she's my favorite character. This stage seems made for her. She's an attacker, and he's a boss. Also, she's green, which could matter. Another green unit is Sia, an obvious choice for the second attacker. And that brings us to number 3. Here we have a choice to make. One path is Angelica, who provides a lot of innate buffs to green allies. The problem is the buffs are only half as good as they would be if Layla were also on the team, and she won't be there. They're still excellent buffs though. The other option, which is actually the one I'm going with, is Arcels. According to any tier list, is a pretty awful character, but here she shines really well, and here's why. Her Awake ultimate, as well as some of her skills, apply Burn, which in addition to dealing dot damage, also reduces the amount of healing he receives. Beautiful. Not only that, she can apply Attack Down with her active skill too, which will be super helpful. But the real thing that sets her above the rest is, like Isabella, She deals extra damage to bosses as long as you have her plug-in, and as long as they're burned, which they should be most of the time. Okay, we've studied his kit, we've got our team, now I need to assign the tactics. As for the formation, I went with Dogfight, since he'll be reducing the frontline tank's defense, and for the trigger, do whatever you need more of. More damage, do Call for Strikes. Dying too fast, do Charge Barrier. At first, I used Threat Analysis to avoid the dots, but upon testing I realized it's not an actual debuff. The only debuff he applies to you is Defense Down, so the immunity won't help much. So now that you have your tactics, this is what your Awake Blossom loadout should look like. And here are my badges for full transparency. Now let's put it to the test. And there it is. Beautiful. I may toy around a bit with Daria as the tank instead, but I feel pretty satisfied with the team I put together. I hope this helped you at least understand the stage a bit more. I'm gonna fly. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.